Hey guys, VideoJames, and today we're doing a toy review of my Roadbuster Transformers figure. So, if you don't know, Roadbuster was a character that was introduced in Dark of the Moon, and he was one of the 3 wreckers that had came with the Xanthium to Earth. And basically, his vehicle form was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Amp Energy Drink vehicle. It wasn't really his Mountain Dew vehicle yet, it was Amp Energy Drink. And basically, Roadbuster's vehicle's form was this car with a bunch of weapons sticking out of it. And this vehicle mode kind of really suits him because he has a lot of weapons on him. He's got a lot of like pent-up aggression and really fast rage. And this car is actually a really good design. That when we look at the design on this, they actually did get a lot of good detailing, even down to like the little Dale Earnhardt signature that we got up top, and we got the little logos on the side. And the wheels do kind of look a little fake-ish to me. I kind of wish they'd used like silver on the inside instead of just pure black all through. But then we see we got the headlights back here. Well, stickers. These kind of cars don't really have headlights. But we see we got the stickers back here. And then we got the little windows. And these windows actually are clear, but they do kind of look like they have a slight bluish tint to them. And then we see the details again. And then on the front we got the silver stickers with the AMP logo and the Chevrolet sticker. And we do also see that on the left side of the vehicle, we've got that little mesh right here. That little kind of net that NASCAR drivers have over their windows. And that's really a nice attention to detail to me. That I really like that Hasbro kind of put that little sort of attention into their figures. Because it kind of shows that they're really actually caring about what they do. And he does have his little buzz saw here, or his chainsaw. That's a machine gun. And he was one of the Mech Tech figures, so it kind of doubles as 2-in-1, even though Bumblebee had that way before in his Transformers 1 thing. And we see we got 2 positions that we can stick it in. We can either stick the gun up top like a mounted turret, or we can put it on the sides, and we can have a gun on either side of this bot. I can't really get it in his vehicle mode because that doesn't really fit with how his vehicle mode works, but it does actually fit in his doors, which end up being his arms, as well as the top of his car. So we're going to actually get into the transformation in a little bit. I just want to gawk a little bit more over the figure. So I really do like the kind of white that they use for this, because it's not really like pure white, because when you look at a NASCAR car or a Transformer, they don't always have like pure unfiltered colors. That sometimes there is a little bit of wear and tear. And I like it when Hasbro kind of tries to capture that. And I do like the colors for the red and green that they use, that they really kind of did pick good colors for those, and they do fit really well. And this car does roll really well. It does actually roll a lot more than it is right now, but I have it on a small surface, so I'm not really rolling it that much. And for some reason, I don't know why, but when I picked this figure up today, I just took it out of my shelves today and I picked it up. And for some reason, the wheel seemed kind of uneven. That one wheel is off the ground when another is on the ground. And I don't know why that is. I can't really seem to fix it. But anyway, looking at the figure in terms of size, he is about, I'd say, 5 and 1/4 of an inch. He's not really that big. And when we compare him next to the 1977 Camaro Bumblebee, we see that he is actually dwarfed a little bit. That Bumblebee does end up actually taking up a little bit more size, going from tip to tip. That Bumblebee's bumper actually does take up more space. But anyway, we're going to get onto the transformation sequence. Bumblebee, stop freaking out. That Bumblebee really likes to pop apart. But anyway, we're going to get onto the transformation sequence. So the first thing that it comes to transforming Roadbuster is we got to pull out his legs and kind of pull them down and get them to go out this way to where they're facing like that. And then we kind of move on to the rest of the body. We slightly ignored the legs and the head for a little bit. I don't know why that is, because they basically take up over half his body, but I'm not going to question it. So we got the back part here, which is basically the back of the car, and we got to kind of flip that up like so. And then we got these little kind of missile holders up here. So what we want to do with these are really hard to get sometimes, is that we want to pull these little missile launchers up to where they're like that. And that's the first time I've ever actually done that successfully. a lot of the times I just end up snapping them off and then putting them back on. And then we got to do the same for the other one, that we got to pull it, like this. And see, I'm afraid I'm going to break something because of how it clicks. Yep, see? That's usually what happens. But then what we do is we take these back parts here and we just flip them outward. And we just put them like that. I'm going to have to fix this for a second, so do not adjust your set. Come on. Nope. Okay, this thing really doesn't like to stick sometimes. There we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, see, so there, we've got them kind of stitched in, but they are part of the top of his body, so we are going to get to those later, but they do have little side flaps here that we kind of want to pull out, and then that'll be basically it for them. And I like to take care of this figure one small part at a time, because it does kind of end up requiring that kind of slow transformation where you have to be kind of careful. And see, we got those kind of pulled out, kind of like a little bit of sort of wing action. And then what we want to do is we want to take his arms, which are his doors, and then we can just pull these out like so, and shift them up to where they're like that. And we do the same for the other arm. And then we have his arms right there. And then we can take the part with the window, and lift it up, then push it down to where it's folding over the tire. Again, you want to do the same for the other side, that we want to push it up, then down, and then there we go. And then this is the part that really gets at me, because this part really makes me mad, is that we have to kind of push these sides of the hood, these little sort of triangles, we have to push those down through the hood with a little bit of force, which is ridiculous to me because it seems like it's going to break with how flimsy these pieces are. And then we got to do that with the same other side, and then we can kind of just lift it down like that, and then we see that that's kind of disconnected, so now we can rotate his body around, and then we see that's like that. And then we take the hood and we fold this piece in, and then we take it and just fold it all up into this little neat little storage space. And I like how they did that they kind of got rid of the back package. And then we see we got this little silver part here, and we have these tabs in the back of the legs that we see we got right here and here. We've got little tabs, so we're going to just push the top half of that part up and then push it in like that, so that the pieces kind of connect, and we've got the sort of joints swiveling into each other like that. And then we can just pry the legs apart, and then we turn them this way like that, and flip the foot up. And then we can also push these little green things in. I don't really know why. It doesn't really change much. It just pushes them further back towards the back of his body. So like you see that, it kind of just pushes it further back instead of it being parallel to the leg. And I don't really understand why, because I don't remember him having that in the Dark of the Moon. But I'm not going to gripe over it too much, because he's still a really decent character. So we do the same for the other leg. And then we see we got the legs completely finished on Roadbuster if he would stand up straight. There we go. And then basically all we have to do is just turn around the head. And then we see that that is the Transformers Dark of the Moon Roadbuster transformed. If I can get him to stand up. Alright. So that goes there, this goes here. And there we go. Alright. So we see we have our Transformers Dark of the Moon Roadbuster transformed completely. I do kind of dislike how, in order to get him standing up straight, you kind of have to bend his legs completely forward, and you can't really have much leeway. That when you're trying to, that didn't happen. That when you're trying to get his legs to kind of get him to stand up, it takes a lot of effort, and it doesn't really let him stand up straight. That he either falls forward or fall back, and you can't really get the head to move up as much as I'd like it to. I mean, you can get him to look up a little bit, like look at you, but you can't really get much in the way of actually looking straight ahead. And then we see that these have repositioning capabilities, that we can position them like right angle like this, or we can position them straight out like I had them before, or we can have them kind of tilted, that we can have them kind of sideways gangster style. And that is actually a nice little mechanic, that they give us a little bit maneuverability in how we want to position the weapons, and we get a little bit more free play with how we want to do this. And we can actually, where'd I put the gun? Now we can actually put the gun into his arm. So you see, we got this goes in here, and then there we go. Now he has his gun stuck in. And you see that the reason he couldn't really get it to go in his vehicle mode is that for some reason when they decided to put this gun in, they decided to add a little peg right there, that little green thing. And it kind of prevents it from going in vehicle mode, because the peg is pushing into the leg, and there's not really much room for it to actually move inwards. And I kind of don't really like that, because, again, the legs, or the cannon, should be able to go on the arms at all times. You shouldn't really be prohibited from putting the gun anywhere when he's in vehicle mode. Because if we look at Bumblebee, the Dark of the Moon Mech Tech Bumblebee, we know that his arm cannons and all that can really be put anywhere we want at any given time. That we see the leg things, we can put them in there at all times and there won't be much problem. We can put them in the top and there will really be no problem. And that Bumblebee really doesn't really get as much restriction as Roadbuster. And that kind of seems weird to me. I don't really get why they would try and restrict a character's or a toy's capabilities. I would think that you'd want to get as much out of the toy as possible and make your buyers happy, but not going to question it as much. But looking at this figure, he stands at about, with his missile launchers in that position, because that's actually the position they're supposed to be in the directions. But with them in that position, he stands about 6 1/4 of an inch, and it actually is a very tall figure, that it is a very decent figure, and it's got a nice bit of size on it too, so you don't really feel like you're getting gypped when it comes to size differences. And then we see here he is next to the Transformers Dark of the Moon and Transformers Dark of the Moon Racing Bumblebee. And that he is actually still a little bit shorter than this Bumblebee. I think basically every Transformer I have that isn't huge is shorter than that Bumblebee. But, again, that Bumblebee does kind of get the height difference from his doors. That the door wings kind of go upwards, so it kind of gives him the slight edge when it comes to size difference. And then here he is next to the Age of Extinction Grimlock, the Voyager class Grimlock. And we see, again, just absolutely minuscule, that almost nothing is taller than Grimlock. But anyway, that's about it for size. He is actually a very decently sized figure. Again, I do like how he isn't really very short, and he isn't really kind of a smaller character, but I do feel like Hasbro does kind of do that all of their characters are basically similar size, unless they were meant to be smaller. That with characters like Hound, who are kind of shorter than the other Autobots, they're kind of all the same size, but then when it comes to stuff like Laserbeak or Wheelie, they're small, but they're bigger than it feels like they should be. But anyway, that's going to be it for the Transformers Dark of the Moon Roadbuster figure review. Definitely give this a 4, probably. I do like the decent coloration. The coloration is really nice. I do like it. The detailing is really awesome, that you can see kind of on his legs. We've got the kind of piping mesh that we've got on the bottom of a NASCAR vehicle. That his gun has really impressive detail, that you can see, like it's got tiny little saw blades and dots. And the cannon does actually have really impressive details on the barrel. That we've got nice little grooves onto the barrels. And I do like how, even though he's got a little bit of back package, it kind of folds up to where it's not really that big of an issue. And it does kind of make him look a bit more complete, because without that half of the back package, then his legs would kind of make him seem a lot skinnier than it looks like he should be. But anyway, I would definitely give this figure a 4 out of 5, because it is one of my favorite figures. It is actually a really cool looking figure. I really like the design they put into it. They did put a lot of design into the face, that you've got a lot of etching and kind of details in it, and it does look really nice. And they did do a really good job of, again, paint and detail and size. All of that are really hit well. It does seem like the figure could be a little less restraining when it comes to the transformation. That with the pieces to the hood, it does feel like you're going to break something every time that you transform it. And a lot of the time, you almost do. And I don't really like that. That's probably the only reason this is getting a 4. Otherwise, it would probably be a 5, because this figure is really easy to transform. He does look really nice in both his robot and vehicle mode. And he is just one of my favorite figures all around. But anyway, I'm going to leave this review here. I'll leave a link down in the description for you guys to go check out the figure yourself. And if you like this video, you could... Oh, I had a burpee there for a minute. If you like this video, you can slap the like button as always, and I will see you guys later.